All right, today we're going to talk about acrylic signs and signs made out of acrylic, both for the lobbies, other interior office spaces, and for some exterior signs. What are the common uses of acrylic signs? Acrylic signs are used mainly on the interior of buildings. They're used for lobby signs that would incorporate a company's logo or their tagline or a saying or a quote from them. That's part of one use. The other type of acrylic signs used in the interior are what we call back printed acrylic signs, which have some sort of picture or a work site for that specific company or a product of that specific company that's printed on the back of a piece of acrylic to be hung somewhere in the facility, whether it's in the lobby or whether it's in a conference room or something like that. So the majority, there are really two uses of acrylic signs. One is cut acrylic and cutting it into shapes. The other was printed acrylic and printing on the back of acrylic and displaying that. Why would a company want acrylic over other materials? It's a cleaner look. Acrylic, when cut and polished correctly, has a much cleaner look to than other forms of material. And if you're looking for an upscale, classy kind of look on a facility or an office, if it's a lawyer's office, a doctor's office, an accounting office, a professional office, using acrylic over other materials is typically seen as a classier look to it. We have, though, used acrylic on other materials to have it give a multiple level effect. But acrylic can be painted to specific colors, specific Pantones, specific PMSs. It can be purchased in different colors, so it's just a much cleaner look from that standpoint. Once the design has been agreed upon, what's the typical process to manufacture an acrylic sign? What I would tell you is that it really depends on what it is. Let's talk about printed first, okay? If you're looking at a print sign, depending on the size of it, the first thing we really need to do is just to use our laser or our router machine to go ahead and cut the size of the acrylic panel. From that point in time, once that acrylic is cut, it goes over to our large format flatbed printing machine, which prints directly onto the acrylic with a layer of white behind it to give the 3D appearance of the picture or of the diagram or whatever it takes. So it goes through basically a two-step process. If you're looking at shapes, sizes, logos, and things like that, then we would use the laser machine to cut out the actual acrylic itself. If it needs to be painted, we would paint it with a color match color, and we would then mount that or get it ready to be mounted on a wall inside of the facility. What types of permits are needed and why? Typically, from a permitting standpoint, there are no permits needed as long as the sign is within the confines of the building, of the business. In other words, within the four walls of the business, do not need a permit. Where you do need a permit is if you are taking acrylic and you are mounting it on the outside of a building that can be visible from the street. Any sign, whether it's an acrylic sign, a channel letter sign, a dimensional letter sign, that's going to be seen from the street is going to be regulated by the city, the county, or the jurisdiction that that building's in. So in reality, a acrylic sign does not need a permit as long as it's on the interior of the building. We have done lots of acrylic signs. There are a lot of different things that we can do that give it the wow factor. One would be to use multiple layers of acrylic and other materials like metal to give it a 3D effect. So it's kind of a stacked effect. It kind of looks 3D-ish and it's a really cool effect. Other one is to kind of have routed shapes into the acrylic. That gives it a really wow effect. And lastly, the thing that we've done that really pops with people is we make the sign lighted. So not only is it a good looking sign, it also has that aura of either a shine through or a backlit effect with lighting. And that really gives a great effect to the sign. What information do businesses need to submit to get a quote for the custom acrylic sign? In reality, what we really need to look at is what size the sign needs to be. That'll be dictated by the interior space that you have. And then what kind of a sign do you want? Do you want a logo sign? Do you want a quote? Do you want back printed acrylic? Once we know that kind of information and sort of sizing, we can get a pretty good quote out to a customer as to what it would cost to do what they're asking to do. And lastly, from a fabrication standpoint, we have all the equipment necessary to produce acrylic signs within our facility. So the turnaround time on acrylic signs is fairly short. It's from 1 to 2 weeks. So if you're looking for a lobby sign, acrylic sign that would like to be turned around on a fairly quickly basis, we have the capability of doing so. Ba-dum, ba-da-dum.